The question of whether you will become a burden to your loved ones in old age depends directly on you and how you take care of your brain throughout your life. Is it possible to maintain mental acuity into old age? The answer lies in understanding how the brain works and following certain recommendations. A predisposition to dementia does not arise suddenly. It is a gradual process that can be slowed down or even prevented. Research shows that only about 20% of people who reach old age retain a clear mind and strong memory. This conclusion was reached by academician Natalia Bektereva, who dedicated her life to studying the mysteries of the human brain. The remaining 80% face dementia and other age-related diseases, becoming a burden to their families. This number significantly exceeds the percentage of people suffering from cancer, Parkinson's disease, or bone fragility in old age. To be among those 20% of lucky people, you need to start taking care of your brain health today. Like muscles that atrophy without exercise, the brain begins to degrade without work. Therefore, constant training is necessary to maintain its functionality. In many cases, a person can prevent brain fading by actively stimulating its activity. Bektereva believed that the greatest happiness is to leave life with a clear mind and the ability to think clearly. According to the scientist, age-related changes can be avoided in most cases if a person does not suffer from an incurable disease. But how can this be achieved? What specific steps will help keep the brain active and healthy for many years? You will find out the answer to this question by watching to the end. So what is the trigger that starts the irreversible processes of aging? Natalia Bektereva, an outstanding scientist, claimed that the vast majority of people, namely 80%, condemn themselves to intellectual decline. What is the root of this problem? Bektereva was convinced that age-related changes in the brain are inextricably linked to a person's lifestyle and ingrained habits. When an individual becomes a victim of routine and stereotypical behavior, their brain loses the ability to actively work and flexibly adapt to new data and circumstances. This process entails a whole cascade of age-related changes, such as weakening memory, decreased concentration, and slowing down the learning process. A person striving for a well-deserved rest after years of work often does not realize the harm they are doing to themselves by plunging into a state of passivity. Needs are reduced to a minimum. Gastronomic pleasures and prolonged sleep become the main priorities. At best, intellectual activity is limited to solving crossword puzzles. At the same time, the level of demands and dissatisfaction with life increases. The accumulated burden of past grievances and disappointments weighs on the shoulders, causing irritation and rejection of the surrounding reality. All this negatively affects memory and thinking abilities. Gradually, a person moves away from the real world, creating their own, often distorted, hostile, and painful world of illusions. Academician Natalia Bektereva, an outstanding brain researcher, proposed a simple but effective way to identify signs of impending decline in mental abilities. She considered the main indicator to be a loss of interest in learning. According to Bektereva, dementia does not arise suddenly. It is a gradual process that insidiously takes over a person. Over time, the desire to learn something new and acquire new skills disappears. A person facing this problem is more likely to fix an old device than to study the operating instructions for a modern model. What should you do if you notice a similar symptom in yourself? Bektereva advised a kind of reboot for the brain. It is noteworthy that people in creative professions, whose work requires constant strain on memory and mental activity, often retain a clear mind into old age. They are constantly aware of the latest trends and sometimes even ahead of them. Such continuous mental activity is a powerful counteraction to age-related changes. To maintain brain health and prolong active longevity, it is necessary to maintain flexibility of thinking and strive for self-development. To prevent or slow down age-related changes, it is important to constantly acquire new knowledge. This does not necessarily mean getting a second higher education. In adulthood, you can choose those areas that not only maintain mental tone, but also bring pleasure. Why not sign up for your favorite hobby courses to combine business with pleasure? Or you can help your grandchildren with their lessons, forcing your brain to remember long-forgotten information. Regularly solving intellectual problems and taking subject tests will also help keep your brain active. Learning foreign languages, even if you don't plan to speak them, or memorizing new terms and words are excellent exercises for memory training. The main thing is not to be afraid of the new and constantly stimulate your brain. Another warning sign is nostalgia that turns into a morbid attachment to bygone days. According to the eminent neurophysiologist Natalia Bektareva, you should be wary if an individual excessively idealizes the past, preferring it to modern achievements and technologies. Often, the roots of such behavior lie in simple human inertia. Mastering any innovation requires effort and time. People continue to cling to outdated things and methods, justifying this with the supposed reliability of the old and distrust of everything new. So, what can be done in such a situation? Here, the lines from a popular song are very apt. The main thing, lads, is not to grow old at heart. Surround yourself with young people. It's like immersing yourself in an inexhaustible source of energy and fresh ideas. The younger generation is open to experiments, sincerely rejoices in successes, and is not afraid of mistakes. Their interests are multifaceted, from cutting-edge technologies to sporting achievements, from fashion trends to cultural trends. Such communication will help you master the latest innovations, discover dormant talents, or simply feel the fullness of life in all its glory. Being surrounded by young and energetic people, you will always be provided with inspiration and valuable advice, which will undoubtedly have a beneficial effect on maintaining the activity and youthfulness of the brain. Age-related changes in the body are often accompanied by difficulties with concentration, which is the third important sign. Forgetfulness becomes an intrusive problem that plagues many people. This circumstance not only complicates the performance of everyday tasks, but also has a noticeable negative impact on the psychological state. However, there are ways to solve this problem. The first step in this direction should be to eliminate overwork. It is important to carefully monitor the daily routine, giving preference to a balanced and proper diet, and also trying to ensure a good night's sleep, not allowing insomnia to win. Do not forget about moderate physical activity. Just 15 to 20 minutes of daily exercise is enough, because regular physical activity helps to maintain mental clarity into old age and protects against the development of dementia. A walk in the fresh air or working in the garden will help reduce stress levels and improve concentration. And of course, you need to regularly train your memory, forcing yourself to remember poems that you once knew by heart, educational programs that you studied at the institute, the phone numbers of old friends, and much more. Such exercises help to maintain cognitive functions and improve memory. The fourth sign that deserves close attention is the manifestation of criticism and irritability. The belief that the surrounding reality must conform to personal expectations is not only a manifestation of arrogance, but also serves as a disturbing indicator of detachment from objective reality. Lack of tolerance and respect for others can provoke disagreements and lead to the destruction of interpersonal relationships. Ultimately, the negative impact is primarily on cognitive functions. What can be done in this situation? Gratitude and praise are a verbal expression of psychological well-being. Sincere gratitude originates in the depths of the soul. By expressing gratitude, a person shares positive energy, striving to share the best feelings and emotions. Accepting blessings opens the heart to positive changes. Even in the most difficult times, it is important to maintain the ability to be grateful. This is not an externally imposed obligation, but an integral element of emotional well-being. By passing life circumstances through the prism of gratitude, a person is able to transform their existence, filling it with bright colors and a sense of happiness. Gratitude has a positive effect on both physical and psychological health. Starting the day by expressing gratitude for the opportunity to wake up, for life, for sunlight, and for loved ones, you can transform grey everyday life into a bright and rich palette. Life changes in an amazing way, becoming more fulfilling and interesting. A person turns to themselves, beginning to appreciate what they have. It is undeniable that sincere gratitude has a profound impact on our well-being. The more often a person expresses gratitude, the less often they encounter ailments, Their sleep becomes more sound, anxieties recede, and productivity increases. Gratitude strengthens the immune system and helps maintain mental clarity for many years. But how can you express your gratitude? Start small. Each morning, greet the world with a smile and give thanks for all the blessings you possess and the beauty that surrounds you. Remember that acknowledgement is the cornerstone of gratitude. Don't put off expressing appreciation. Gratitude knows no expiration date. Think about the people you'd like to thank and write them a heartfelt letter or simply call them. Tell them what you're grateful for, and you'll see how this simple act fills both you and them with happiness. Take that small but significant step. Write, call, give thanks. Let it become a good habit, for gratitude is the easiest and most accessible path to happiness and healthy longevity. Finally, consider the importance of planning and variety in our lives. As we age, we often fall into a routine, acting on autopilot. Breakfast, tea, brushing our teeth, work, the usual route home, dinner, the sofa, television, day in, day out. Habits certainly play an important role in our lives, directly affecting our brain function. However, if we don't introduce variety into our lives and change our habits, we risk experiencing cognitive decline in later life. It's widely accepted that the brain, like a muscle, needs constant exercise, or its functions begin to weaken. That's why continuously broadening our horizons, acquiring new knowledge, and maintaining mental activity are paramount. By adjusting our daily habits, we can significantly extend the lifespan of our brain and maintain its full functionality for years to come. So, what specific steps can we take to avoid unwanted intellectual atrophy? First, it's recommended to regularly introduce variety into your life, learning new activities or taking small but interesting trips, perhaps to a distant part of town. You should also experiment with your routes, choosing a new way home from work each time, and diversify your diet, discovering new tastes and culinary recipes. All these measures aim to stimulate the brain with new experiences and knowledge, creating a favorable environment for forming new neural connections. Creativity plays a special role in maintaining mental clarity and intellectual ability. Engaging in creative activities activates the brain, promotes the development of new connections, and stimulates thought processes. As a result, intelligence is strengthened, analytical skills are improved, and problem-solving abilities are enhanced. In addition, creativity helps to cope with emotional stress and increases overall life satisfaction. Thus, the more time a person spends on creative pursuits, the longer they maintain mental acuity and clarity.